right, guys, we have started island improvements. This was the first big clog I wanted out of the way, and that was this big, long, lanky, dead snag. There's another 20-30 feet of it laying over here by the maple that broke off from the top. There's a piece of it right there. There's another 3 or 4 pieces laying over there. Another piece here. This tree was causing all kinds of problems. Not only was it space for turning a tractor to work this place, but that oak tree right there was actually being really hindered and damaged from a snag. I know snags doesn't seem like it should be that big of a deal, but the way the snag was, it was growing up and into the tree like this. So every time a violent wind storm hit, it was literally breaking limbs out of the oak tree, damaging the top, and you can see the big notch that it's cut out of that tree. This guy was hindering my nut production, long-term nut production. And it's forced that oak tree to lean away because it can't grow limbs back this direction. Well, now he's freed up to do so. So in the next 10 years, that ought to be really different. Should grow back in fairly nicely and hopefully straighten that tree up just a little bit more once the weight becomes more balanced. And I don't know how well the camera is showing it, but if you look very carefully, let me see if I can zoom in. All right, right in there, that little dark spot is a dead limb broken out by that snag. There we go. So that is a problem that is gone. Also, this tree did me a nice favor, really nice favor. Sheared this maple limb out, sheared another big maple limb out, and now has really opened up even more space from the top of this tree. Fantastic. I didn't like this tree being here, and I had no say-so, but at least I tore a big chunk out of it. Here's another limb laying here from it. That will open up even more morning and evening sunlight in here. And when you're in a situation like this, to where you have all these trees, if you're looking at it by this perspective, you need all the lights you can get. So this tree was blocking light like a sundial. The maple limbs above me were blocking light. Now they're out of the way. So sunlight is opened up, and even if it's only 2 or 3 direct hours worth of sun, I'll take it. Anything I can do to notch up sunlight in here. So this will benefit this area a lot more and hopefully start producing some better growth. I mean, I nearly took this whole big limb out right here. It almost snapped when it came down, but the snag broke off and took the tension off of it. I may post the camera video. I don't know. I know it captured me. I went over and turned it off, but it had to capture the tree falling. But we have another new benefit now. I've actually pulled up 2 stumps with this one. Thank goodness. Thank goodness. That is 3 stumps in one. So right here's the oak tree that used to be here. The other oak trees on the bottom end here, they're all pulled out of the ground. Now I have soft dirt. A nice hole with soft dirt in it. The only problem is this is going to create quite the pit. But I'm going to drag this stump out of here, get it out of the way. Now I have all kinds of room in here to turn the tractor. This is going to be a big help when it comes time to upgrade the soil and get me closer to where I need to be up here. So now the next phase is I intend to cut this tree up into sections. I'm not keeping the stump up here. I will take the root ball and the stumps and probably put them over here in my brush pile over here. What I intend to do though with these other segments is burn stumps with it. So this tree is going to benefit my soil. I'm not completely removing the tree. 95 or actually about 98% of this tree is staying on the island and going to feed my new crop. This will help jumpstart new plants. I'm going to break down all these hardened minerals in this tree and release them. You can see right here, here's the very, very top of the snag. Completely broken off, which is fine. There's stumps over there. So I'm using everything to my advantage as much as possible. And I could, you know, theoretically, I could take the stump and park it on another stump and burn it. But I'm just not going to do that. Actually, here's another dead limb that was in the tree. Glad that's out of the way. There's another piece of the top. It flat out exploded when it hit these tree tops. Now, here's another important strategy that I'm going to be using. Let's say I've cut all this up and it's still not enough to do the stump burning, which I know it's not. So what am I going to do after the fact? If I'm done cutting trees, I don't have any more fuel left to cut stumps. And there is fuel, and there's unlimited supply of it right now. That would be all this over here. We have treetops, limbs, trees themselves that has fallen over in here in the past 40 years. There is all kinds of burnable material in here. Now, before you start screaming that I'm removing cover for the deer, this is not cover. This is more like an obstacle course for my deer. The odds that an injury is going to occur to my deer actually rises because of all this debris. Think of it as yourself when you're walking through here. Do you want to walk through this, or would you rather walk through here? 99% of you, you're going to take this path. Deer's going to be the same way. They want ease of access. So when I started dropping trees here, or trees started dying on their own and falling, this has become a crisscrossed obstacle course for the deer. So deer are wasting energy hopping around it, jumping around it, or even literally making a loop around it if they don't want to come up here. They usually take a path right here and come right up to the feeding trough. I hardly ever see them come up this way. And the amount of debris in here has more than doubled since I started the island project, because I cut the top of this maple out the beginning of this year. I cut down snags off of this maple 2 or 3 years ago. I cut the top of a poplar tree down, and that's the remaining piece of it here. So I'm creating too much debris in here, and I fully intend to use this to my advantage and clean this spot up. So this will make the deer feel better about walking through here at night. I know this sounds like it's just too much, but if you clean your forest up and don't assume something like this is cover, it's not. Clean it up, make it easy for the deer to use. Now you might say they could bed fawns down in this, and to some degree you're right, but if this is considered bedding ground, you've got a serious problem with what is considered bedding. Bedding needs to be full cover, not something I can stand here and see all the way down to my property line. If I have that perspective, coyotes have sharper vision. They're going to find these fawns. So this is not, and I repeat, this is not considered good woods cover, especially bedding a fawn down in that. That would be practically a rookie mistake by a beginning mother doe. And then again, she may have no choice. So that means you got to upgrade your bedding areas. But I'm very excited to get this project underway. It's going to take me a little bit to get this tree cut up and then select what stumps I want to burn. But this has turned out to be a much better start than what I was going to do. I originally was going to put tension on here with the chain and cut it, but something told me just to give it one more try and tug on it with the chain, and by golly, it broke loose. So that saved me some valuable time and some dangerous cutting. All right, guys, there'll be plenty more of these videos to go, and I'll do a water demonstration test on this side of the island versus this side of the island to show you the difference in the soil just by tilling. and we will continue to upgrade the island and do this step by step. And this is just a small step in the right direction. I hope you enjoyed this content and find something informative out of this. Hit that like and subscribe button if you want more, and that notification bell if you're interested in trying to improve poor soil. So you all have a great day. All right, guys, I'm going to sneak a part 2 into this. I've already run out of gas, so I'm going to stop for now. I just went up here with what gas I had to get as far as I could, and all of this right here is cut up. I just got to distribute it to the stumps I want, and you can see where I've already started doing that. But I'm going to give out some more tips when it comes to creating a food plot like this. There are some major trees in here that do not need to be left. So if you're creating a woods food plot and your intensive purposes is to till in this area, whatever you do, do not leave maple trees growing in that food plot. Now granted, I don't have all the permissions I need, but maples are a very bad tree to leave in a food plot. Just look at all these roots sticking above the ground. I cannot bring a tiller in here because of this tree. So I have to modify how I'm going to plant things. That's a big old root right there. I mean, that looks like a broken off tree limb laying there. When these trees get older, the roots come up out of the ground as the tree grows. They are a very shallow rooted tree and can cause all kinds of problems. So if you've got a bunch of young maple saplings in your plot right now that are, you know, they're not even 4 inches thick or whatever, I'm telling you right now, get rid of them. It may not happen in the first 10 years, it may not happen in the first 15 years, but 20 years, 30 years, you're going to start seeing problems. And I know that seems like a long ways off for several, you know, for a lot of you, and it is for me, but you're going to save yourself a big heartache, especially if you're a younger hunter that's getting involved in this. Do not leave maple trees. They are terrible. White oaks also have shallow root systems, so anytime you plant under white oaks, don't expect as much return out of those areas. But these maples, oh, they're terrible. Absolutely terrible. You're better off to plant under pine trees than you are white oaks or maples, especially the maples. Real quick here, I've got a couple of good things going on here. Not only, and I'm thinking every angle possible when it comes to nutrition. So I've got all this nice sawdust laying here. Weed suppressant somewhat. It's not really thick per se, but this is breaking or will break down nutrient wise slowly, and this will help feed my fall blend. But if I get this far with the tilling, this is about as far as I can get based on these roots in here, I can at least mix that into the soil, and not deep per se. I'm talking like 2 inches deep, maybe 3 if I feel lucky, but I don't want to go deeper than 2. And try to mix that in and give a good thorough mix on the top, so that way the first 2 inches of new soil will be better off than what it is now. And this will help reduce the hardening effect of clay. And of course, 5 billion rocks that's stuck in here. Big cluster of stumps right over here. And I'll just simply be taking whatever pieces I need and putting them on all the stumps I need. Burn out as much as possible. So even if I can only take out maybe 8 to 10 stumps, that's a huge improvement compared to what's in here now. So 8 to 10 gives me more space to work with. And now that this tree's out of the way, I actually may have enough space all the way over into here now to bring the tiller in. That spot over there is not as bad until you get to the edge of the island, and there's like 6 stumps sitting over there. But overall, I think this will help the ground. Got more sawdust over here to help feed. Anything I can do at this point to up the nutrient level just based on how this stuff is growing. It is not good. That is some really ratty soybean, and that's the exact same style soybean I had when I first started my food plot in the field. That was what made me happy back in the day. Pretty sad, ain't it? All right, guys, so more updates to the island are coming, and I definitely hope you enjoy these videos.